Brian Kelly has been one of the most talked about coaches over the last 10 to 15 years in college football. Everybody has been asking the question, that is, can Brian Kelly finally win a national championship, and can he do it at LSU? Head coach Brian Kelly left Notre Dame because he wanted to go somewhere where he could win a national championship, and he just happened to land at LSU in 2022 and become their head coach. And Brian Kelly has been chasing a national championship for about 20 years now. He even led Cincinnati to a 12-0 record and an AP high ranking of number 4 in 2009. He started at Central Michigan, but then he went to Cincinnati. He led Cincinnati to 3 double-digit win seasons in a row. And then after that, he left for Notre Dame, and he turned Notre Dame into a national title contender and a very good football team after they were down for quite a while. In just his third year as the Notre Dame head coach, he led them to a BCS national championship appearance in 2012, but Notre Dame got absolutely destroyed by Alabama in that game. And until 2021, he remained as the Notre Dame head coach. He was the head coach there for over 10 years. He led them to an AP high ranking of top 10 every single year since 2014. And he just kept that Notre Dame team knocking at the door of a national title just about every year, but he could never get the job done there. He finally moved on to another school. He left Notre Dame in the dust. He stated how he didn't think he had enough resources at Notre Dame, but now he's the LSU head coach and he is still chasing a national championship to this day. And LSU is one of the best college football teams historically, definitely in recent memory. And LSU has had an AP ranking high of top 10 in Brian Kelly's 3 seasons with LSU as well. But there has certainly been some adversity that has held this team back from being an elite football team. And that includes struggles at the start of the season, losing 3 openers in a row, and also having consistent struggles on defense. And in this video, I just wanted to talk about why I still think a national championship is actually a possibility 21 years into Brian Kelly's coaching career, and why I think he could finally get it done at LSU in the coming future. But we have to be real and honest here. 2025 is a crucial year for LSU, and they have to take that step forward, which is probably the college football playoffs or better. I didn't have high expectations for them heading into 2024. I don't think anybody did. We knew LSU was going to have to reload a ton after hiring a new defensive coordinator in Blake Baker. The defense was atrocious a few years ago, and they lost multiple NFL wide receivers and a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback in Jaden Daniels heading into last season. So they had to reload. They had a bunch of new faces, but they did end up winning 9 football games and having a solid year, but it was certainly a down season for them. But I do believe Brian Kelly has this LSU team in the punching zone with massive breakout potential, and here is why I think that. And first of all, it's because I think the defense is starting to look more like an elite caliber defense, and they have some great resources heading into 2025. There were still some questions on defense last year, but they certainly cleaned a lot up. But heading into 2025, LSU is going to have a year 2 defensive coordinator in Blake Baker. This is a guy that has really brought an aggressive style defense, and he's a very good defensive coordinator for LSU. LSU will have one of the most talented defensive players back in college football, who is Harold Perkins Jr., and he's just a very talented linebacker and an elite linebacker when fully healthy. They also add one of the top players from the transfer portal, an edge rusher from the transfer portal, Patrick Payton from Florida State. This is a guy that has a ton of experience, and this pass rush could be extremely dangerous. You have guys on the edge like Harold Perkins Jr. and also Patrick Payton, the transfer, and they also have a very aggressive defensive coordinator in Blake Baker. This could be a very good defensive pass rush, one of the best in the country. 2024 was a step in the right direction defensively for LSU, but in 2025 they have the potential to capitalize on a fully rebuilt defense and a dangerous defense, and I believe they have the talent. They return a decent amount of production on defense. They return just about 60% of the production. They have had a top 10 recruiting class every year with Brian Kelly, so they have the resources, but they went all out in the portal with the number 1 transfer portal class for 2025. They signed 10 4-stars and really revamped the secondary. They added a veteran playmaker like Mansour Delaney, who was one of the top defensive backs from the ACC, and they also got Jakeem Jackson from Florida with big potential. And they got a 4-star safety in Tamarcus Cooley, who had 6 pass breakups and 3 interceptions last season for NC State. They added Jack Pyburn, who was a 4-star edge from Florida with 60 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. I'm expecting them to have a very well-rounded defense and a potentially dangerous defense in 2025. So the questions they have on defense, I believe, are slowly dying down. There may be some questions on offense. They took a step back last year, but the offense is still looking very stacked heading into next season. They added 2 high 4-star transfers on the offensive line in Brilliant Moore and Josh Thompson. They will have to replace some pieces on the offensive line, but I do expect them to have one of the top O-lines in the SEC again. I also believe they will have one of the most loaded receiving rooms in the country, one of the deepest in the country. They have high 4-star transfers with Barry Brown, who is extremely fast from Kentucky. And of course, they added Nick Anderson, who had just under 1,000 yards in 2023. This guy has a very good skill set, and if he stays healthy, he could be one of the top receivers in the SEC. He did get injured last year for Oklahoma and missed last season, but he's going to be looking forward to get back on that field. They also have some talented wide receivers in Chris Hilton Jr. and Xavier Thomas returning, and they returned their leading receiver from last year in Aaron Anderson Jr. They are very deep at wide receiver. I'm talking 5 to 6 wide receivers deep. They returned their top running back in Caden Durman at running back, who ran for over 700 yards as a freshman and led the team in rushing last year. And they also returned Caleb Jackson in the backfield, and he could have breakout potential. But more importantly, they returned one of the Heisman favorites at quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier, who passed for over 4,000 yards as a first-year starter for LSU last season. LSU has had 2 Heisman winners at quarterback over the last 7 years in Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, so don't be surprised if Nussmeier joins them if he cuts back on turnovers, because Nussmeier has so many great weapons to throw to, and he has one of the strongest arms, if not the strongest arm in all of college football. They have a ton of young talented pieces, and Brian Kelly has really built a very talented roster at LSU, and they look good heading into next season. I say 2025 is a crucial year for them because the roster is loaded and they have the potential to be special in 2025 with a balanced roster. If they have a big 2025 season, that could really set them up to get even more talent for the future, and Brian Kelly could potentially win his first natty at LSU. And I honestly believe they're a dark horse to win the natty as soon as next year. I know there's some people who do not believe in Brian Kelly, but the dude is one of the most experienced coaches in college football. And he has great resources to work with at LSU, and next year they look set up great in my opinion. No active head coach has won as many games as Brian Kelly in college football right now. LSU is definitely a team to watch out for heading into 2025. I recently did an early schedule prediction for them, and I have them at 10-2 right now. If they make the playoffs next year and happen to win a playoff game, I honestly think that could set them up perfectly for the future. I do think there's potential for Brian Kelly to win a natty at LSU, and it could be within the next 3 years, to be honest. But if LSU doesn't make the playoffs in 2025 and show solid improvement, then I don't know if Kelly will ever get it done there, and I don't know if he'll ever win a national title in his coaching career. But he's definitely still building at LSU, and I think we have to give him time. And I wish I could give more of a definite answer on if Brian Kelly could win a national title at LSU, but it's still early and hard to tell. But I guess I'll just say this, I believe Brian Kelly has about a 50-50 chance to win a national championship within the next 5 years. I believe there is a strong possibility, and we should not count this LSU team out. But anyways, you guys let me know down in the comments below, do you think Brian Kelly will lead LSU to a national championship victory anytime soon? But that is going to do it for this video. Let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel, because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel, so definitely consider subscribing. And also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.